Welcome to your community. This is your hometown. This is Walton Entertainment. This is where you can hear from the community and those making a difference. We explore topics, local festivals, arts and entertainment, and local news. For this program and much more, visit us online at yourlocalstream.com. That's yourlocalstream.com.
Hello, I'm Kenny Sargent with Keep Walton Beautiful, the Walton County Recycling Center. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. It's been a little bit since I've done one of these episodes, and so I wanted to go back and give a little update on like our document destruction day we had back in April around Earth Day. Wanted to make sure I thanked everybody that came out. We had a really good turnout. We collected 3,290 pounds of paper that day, and we're thinking we had somewhere around 50 to 60 cars come through the document destruction event. So I want to thank everyone for coming out. Wanted to thank the volunteers that were here to help us out with traffic control and stuff that day. And you know, we look forward to doing it again. Going into the spring, we've had a lot of questions, and a lot of people have been bringing paint out here to the center. It seems like there's still a lot of people that's unsure of what to do with paint. There's only a few options. One of them is always, we do a paint collection event every November around America Recycles Day. So if it's to where you can hold on to the paint for that long, that probably is the easiest, most inexpensive way to get rid of all of that paint is during our paint collections. We do charge a little bit for the paint, but it's only the cost that we're charged from the Atlanta Paint Disposal who gets the paint we collect. Speaking of Atlanta Paint Disposal, if you have enough paint, you can always take it to them. There is a charge, but I do think they will allow you to take that to them. So you're always welcome to call them up and arrange or schedule an appointment to bring in paint. Of course, they are in the Atlanta area, so that is quite a drive to do that, but it is an option. There's also an option in Athens. It's the CHARM, it's the Center for Hard to Recycle Materials. They will accept paint there. I'm not sure what their charges are for paint right now. So that is also an option. What may be an easier option for some, especially if you don't have a lot of paint, is wet paint is the problem here. You know, we can't accept wet paint. But if you'll get things like kitty litter or oil dry and mix those in with the wet paint you have, give it a little while to kind of harden up and just scrape out those cans into newspaper, it can be balled up and thrown in your household garbage, and it's perfectly okay when it's hardened like that. The leftover paint cans, they can also be disposed of. If they're metal cans, they can even be recycled. So that's just, those are a few different things that you can do. If you have any other questions about paint, you know, please feel free to call us here at the center, 770-267-1421. We'd be happy to you know, explain all of your options a little better. We're just, you know, we hate having people come down here with the stuff and we have to turn them around because we just can't take it here. And for whatever reason, we've been getting a lot of it this spring, and I guess it's just through spring cleaning and stuff like that. So again, give us a call. We'll help direct you in the right direction with some of your paint issues. Going forward, we are going to start kind of advertising and reaching out to some of our Rivers Alive group leaders, reaching out to volunteers to try to set up our Rivers Alive event this year. We did have to cancel it last year because of COVID, so we're looking forward to getting that one back going. Our Rivers Alive events, where we try to find waterways, rivers, creeks, and things in Walton County to send groups out to clean. Sometimes we just use areas for younger groups that may be interested. We can find some areas, maybe some parks. We can find areas that may be just adjacent to water and you know, kind of not down in the water itself. So we do feel like we have some spots for volunteers of all ages. Feel free to call us out here. Let us know if you're interested in the event. We can be working on locations for you. But we are excited about doing that again. And we're hoping we can get back after skipping a year of being at the level we've always been at for years now, to where we've had somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 or more volunteers pretty much every year for the last 10 or 12 years. It's one of our bigger events, and we're really looking forward to it. So again, please give us a call out here. You can email me. All of my information is on our website. You can go to www.waltoncountyga.gov, go to the department's link, and you can find Keep Walton Beautiful there. All of my contact information is there. Feel free to call me, email me. I'd be happy to get you all the information we can, because we would really like to get that event back up and running, and we would like for it to be as big or bigger than it's ever been. Outside of that, like I always say, if you know, you don't really know who we are or what we do, but you'd like to get started recycling, you're wondering where to carry some of your larger items that won't fit in your trash cans at home, we're a good place for you to come out and do all of those things. Come out, we can show you the process here, show you what we do, show you what you're to do when you come into the center, all the things we recycle, what can be thrown away, where it can be thrown away. Come out and see us, give us a call. Again, our number is 770-267-1421, and we would be happy to have a discussion with you on any of those things. Until next time, take care.
Woo! This show's getting hot in Walton County. If that's you right now, you may need to come to our splash park. In between Georgia, we've got water that's flying everywhere. It's going down and getting recirculated and coming back. And even if you're not in the water and you're bringing a child that's wanting to run around, sometimes if you just get downwind, you'll get some of the mist on you. So it's a great place to go. Let your kids have fun, cool off, and it's very, very affordable. We're doing it for $3 per kid. You can come out. We've got some folks that are there supervising. As long as you're 16 and up, you can bring a child and supervise them. It's a great place to have some good entertainment during the day. We're open from 4 to 6 most nights when school is in. We're open from 10 to 6 when school is out for the entire summer. The only day we're closed is on Monday. On Saturdays, 10 to 6. On Sundays, 1 to 5. So I hope to see you at the Splash Park. And remember, it's a great place to get out of the heat.
Monroe Country Day School's mission is to inspire every student to have a passion for academic and personal excellence through creative learning, independent thinking, and selfless service to others. Students are exposed to the local community and provided opportunities for independent thinking.
What will you do with all the dirt?
Some of the dirt you see has been hauled over here because they're going to have to build the finished floor, the elevation of the building, so that it's got to have the right kind of soil that will compact and tighten up for the footings of the building.
Monroe Country Day School values the whole child. Therefore, we believe in a holistic and integrated approach that involves the development of the student academically, personally, and socially. Monroe Country Day School believes that creative learning produces independent thinking and fosters a love of learning. Excellence is applied to all that we do. We strive to foster students that are pursuing strong academic and personal excellence. Project-based education is integrated into our curriculum.
When we go back in the classroom, we need the combined weight of you guys, because we've got to figure our bridge, our mass bridge weight ratio, okay? You got to figure out how much weight it was that finally broke your bridge, okay?
We need a scale for that.
And then on Monday, we're going to redesign. We figured out where some of our flaws are. We're going to spend another week redesigning, all right?
Monroe Country Day School offers personalized education that begins with the personal knowledge of each student academically and each student's personal story. We believe that taking personal responsibilities for one's academic and personal choices produces strong, independent, capable, and confident citizens. Students are taught responsibility for self, peers, and community. Through service to one's peers and community, an equipped leader finds personal growth and fulfillment. We facilitate this leadership through providing experiences of service. Respect is the basis for good dialogue, independent thinking, and mutual enjoyment of life lived in community. Monroe Country Day School is designed for families who see the value of educating the whole child. Monroe Country Day School will reach its mission by maintaining small class sizes, offering project-based learning and a high-level curriculum, and by providing service opportunities in an aesthetically pleasing environment. Monroe Country Day School has positioned itself to produce a community of young people who are strong in mind and character and living as contributing members in their community. For more information, please contact Mandy Wellington, Admissions Director, at 770-267-8955.
Hey Walton County, it's Patrice, the Public Information Officer for Walton County Board of Commissioners, and I'm here with your May update. At the May 4th Board of Commissioners meeting, we opened the meeting with a presentation from Jeff Neufeld with the YMCA, and they talked about their capital campaign and their wish to bring a YMCA here to Walton County. They talked about all of the great recreational activities that the Y would bring, including a swimming program and a pool for the community to use, as well as offering jobs to, the local residents and other recreational activities here for the families that would take part in the Y. We also had a presentation from Shane Short with the Joint Development Authority, and he presented a check in the amount of $2.6 million. We are so grateful for the work that Shane does for us on behalf of Walton County and the work that he does with Madison, Jasper, and Newton counties as well. We had several Planning Commission recommendations on this agenda, and we started with a rezone of 8 acres from B1 and R1 to B2 for mini storage units with conditional use for outside storage and a car lot. The Board of Commissioners took the recommendations of the Planning Commission and they approved it with conditions. We had a conditional use for a guest house on 12 acres and it was also approved. We had a conditional use for an event venue for educational purposes, camps, parties, and photography. And the Board of Commissioners took the recommendations of the Planning Commissions and it was approved with no conditions. There was a rezone for 87.85 acres from R1 to R1 OSC for a residential subdivision, but it was tabled. Commissioner Kirkland Dixon wanted to table it so that the applicant and the community could get together and talk about some compromises in order for this to be passed. We had an approval of 16.31 acres from A1 to A to raise cattle, sell fruits and vegetables, and it was approved for the purpose stated by the Board of Commissioners. We also had a rezone of 2.1 acres from A2 to R1 to create 2 buildable lots, and it was approved by the Board of Commissioners. We had an applicant to withdraw their application, and they wanted to rezone 9 acres from A1 to A2 to create 6 buildable lots, but it was withdrawn by the applicant. We had a rezone of 2 acres from A1 to B3 for outside storage, and it was approved by the Board of Commissioners. And we also had a rezone of 11.98 acres from A1 to B3 for RV sales and service, and it was approved with conditions. We had several resolutions on the agenda for the May meeting, and we approved the capital improvements element transmittal letter for the impact fee program. We had several budget amendments for the fiscal year 21 that were adopted, as well as project length budgets for the fiscal year 21 SPLOST 4. The Parks and Recreation Department came with an updated fee schedule and rental schedule for the Between Splash Park, and it was approved. The Board of Commissioners made 2 appointments to the O'Kelly Memorial Library Board of Trustees, appointing Ruth Colquitt and Paul Smith. The Development Authority of Walton County was given $1 million for the purpose of developing trade, commerce, industry, and employment opportunities. We had an executive session at this board meeting to discuss real estate and personnel, but no votes were taken during executive session. We have a couple of big announcements, actually. We want to congratulate Melissa Rusk on being appointed the Human Resources Director. Melissa brings a wealth of knowledge and tons of experience to the role. We wish her well in her new role, and we know that she'll do a great job for the Human Resources Department of Walton County. On last Friday, we cut the ribbon at the Splash Park in Between. We are so excited that the Walton County families will be able to go and take part in the Splash Park, and also the dog park. The park was dedicated to the late Commissioner Clinton Ayers, and we want to thank his family for coming out and celebrating with us. I know the Walton County families are looking forward to splashing around in the water and, you know, taking part in all of the festivities that that park has to offer. The grand opening for the park will be on May 20th, and you can find the fee schedule under the Parks and Recreation page of the Walton County website. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us here at the Walton County Board of Commissioners. Our number is 770-267-1301, and we look forward to serving you and keeping up with the level of service that we have been offering this past year, even in the times of COVID. We thank you for allowing us to serve you in this capacity, and we look forward to seeing you outside and about here in Walton County, and we hope that you are having a good time and that everyone is safe and healthy. Thank you.
The mission of Project Renewal is to provide the support and services necessary for families and individuals in the Georgia counties of Rockdale, Newton, and Walton to live in a violence-free home.
So back in 2012, I met my partner, and we were together for a few months, and then we became pregnant. Not long after we met each other, he wanted me to move in with him and became pretty possessive already in the first few months of being together. Not long after I became pregnant, he wanted to move us out of state, and he did. We moved out of state, had me quit my job, and while we were up there, I didn't have much contact with my family, but I was able to come back down to Georgia to be able to birth my son. Not long after that, he moved us to Florida, and everything actually seemed really nice. He moved us around a lot. Different jobs, different houses, new environments all the time. And I kind of now realize that he was trying to keep me from making connections with people and having close relationships with anybody. While in Florida, things became escalated. He started verbally abusing me a good bit. He started mentally abusing me, putting me down constantly. And it was kind of a cycle of, one day he could be really nice, and then the next day and the next day it starts building up with tension, and everything seems to be my fault. Doesn't matter what I do, it's not right. And then before you know it, he lashes out. It was not until 2015 he put his hands on me physically and one morning and knocked me out. And the police came and they arrested him, and I told my family about that incident, and I tried to leave. And upon leaving, I went home to my family, and I did not go to a shelter. I did not seek help other than my family. And although they were supportive, I was not in the right mindset. I was lost and very confused. And so I ended up going back to him just a couple months later. And it really got worse when I got back, because there was resentment of me leaving. And the next year that I was with him, it was constant physical abuse. It was, he was never home. It was constant physical abuse, and my son was witnessing it. And I took it for about a year. When I heard about Project Renewal, I realized that there were options out there. I had always heard of a shelter or a safe house, but you don't hear much about them because obviously, most places like that are going to stay more anonymous. So we were able to contact the Sheriff's Department for Walton County from Florida and, kind of let them know what was going on and the risk that was being involved with me leaving Florida, the threats that were made towards me. And I was able to kind of make like an escape plan with my family. And I was able to kind of read up on that on the Project Renewal website and learn about, the things that you really need to take along with you, the things that are not, materialistic things that can be replaced, and the things that are very important documents. I was able to kind of get a binder together, get all this information together. And I was able to leave one morning while my abuser was at work. And me and my son hopped in the car and we drove 7 hours straight to the Sheriff's Department. And from the Sheriff's Department, I called Project Renewal and spoke with them over the phone. And they were very kind to me on the phone, very empathetic, which is something that I had not had a lot of, emotion towards lately. And I was able to drive over to the location with an escort. And once I got there, I didn't realize how tense I had felt from the whole situation. And I didn't realize the state of mind that I was in, because once I got there and I realized I was actually safe, my whole body just broke down, but a good breakdown. I felt relieved. And I felt like I could breathe for once. I had felt like I was drowning for so long, and it took me a long time to realize the danger I was in, because I didn't want to admit that I was the victim in it.
This book is The Man in the Moon by William Joyce. And he drew these beautiful pictures too. Let's read. The Man in the Moon. And this one was edited by Laura Geringer Books. Of course you know the guardians of childhood. You've known them since before you can remember, and you'll know them till your memories are like twilight. Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Sandman, the Easter Bunny, and others. But the very first one was the Man in the Moon. Many once upon a time ago, the Man in the Moon began his journey. It was during the Golden Age, a glorious time of hope and happiness and dreams that could come true. As a baby, the Man in the Moon had everything a child could need. His father showed him the wonders of the heavens through his telescope, while the Moonbot crew whistled a jolly toot-toot to every passing ship. By the light of the giant glowworms, his mother read to him from her primer of planets, as the moon mice hushed one another so they could listen too. And he had a devoted little friend named Nightlight to watch over him. Together they all sailed from one peaceful planet to another in their beautiful ship, the Moon Clipper. At night, the Moon Clipper was designed to turn into a moon, so Nightlight called the baby the Little Man in the Moon, or MIM for short. Nightlight never slept, and every night he sprinkled dream sand over Mim and sang him a lullaby. Nightlight, bright light, sweet dreams I bestow. Sleep tight all night, forever I will glow. And as long as Nightlight watched over him, Mim was safe from nightmares. But darkness came to the Golden Age. It came in the shifting shape of Pitch, the king of nightmares. He had heard of the boy who had never had a nightmare, and this he could not abide. So he vowed to make that boy his own, a prince of nightmares. In search of Mim, Pitch sailed in his nightmare galleon on waves of fear, plundering planets, extinguishing stars, and scuttling every airship that crossed his path. Mim's parents knew of the perfect place to hide, an uncharted little green and blue planet in the distant galaxy. It was called Earth, and it had no moon. The Moon Clipper glided in deepest silence, speeding away from Pitch's darkness. Suddenly, out of the gloom, the nightmare galleon appeared, so close Mim could see Pitch standing on the bow. Toot toot, asked the baby. Where is that oh so innocent child who has never had a nightmare? Pitch demanded, glaring straight at Mim. Then he signaled the attack. Mim's parents commanded Nightlight to take the baby to a hidden nursery deep in the darkest tunnels of the ship. But first, you must kneel and take this oath, they said. Their voices rang out through the smoldering smoke and flame. Watch over our child. Guide him safely from the ways of harm. Keep happy his heart, brave his soul, and rosy his cheeks. Guard with your life his hopes and dreams, for he is all that we have all that we are, and all that we will ever be. The battle rocked the moon clipper as nightlight rushed Mem to safety, seeing a tear on the frightened child's cheek. He took it and held it close to his heart. Fiercely, he repeated his oath. Then he felt a searing pain. When he opened his hand, the tear had changed into a brilliant diamond, sharp as a dagger. "Remember me in dreams," he whispered to Mem as he flickered away to face Pitch. The galaxies had never known such a battle. Mem's parents and their crew fought valiantly, but they were overwhelmed at last. Mem's parents were captured, and all seemed lost. Nightlight knew what he must do. Whatever the cost, Mem must not become a prince of nightmares. With the diamond dagger held aloft, Nightlight flew bravely forward. He aimed the weapon at Pitch's heart. There was a blinding flash, then a great explosion. When all was still, Mem crawled up to the surface. "Toot, toot," he whispered. His parents didn't answer. He looked around him. Pitch and his galleon had vanished. The beautiful hull of the moon clipper had been blasted away. It was now just a moon and would never sail again. "Toot," he called once more and listened. Again no answer came. Finally he looked up at the sky. He saw a group of new stars shimmering above him. He stared at them until he was sure. His mother and father were there, far away, but still there. But what of the noble little Nightlight? The baby glimpsed a shooting star as bright as dream sand, and it fell to earth. Slowly the remaining moonbots, moon mice, and giant glowworms surrounded Mem. The only words he knew were "toot toot," so he said them over and over again. Gently they lifted Mem up and carried him into the tunnels of the moon. The baby looked up at the sky and waved, gazing longingly at his parents' constellation. Now he truly was Mem, the littlest man in the moon. Mem's new life had many comforts. Every night one of the lunar moths would circle the moon with Mem on its soft, woolly back. He'd stay awake long enough to see his parents' constellation. Then he'd sleep and dream of Nightland and their gentle golden age. As time passed, the moon became a planet-sized playground for the boy. There was so little gravity that with one hop he could bounce over the tallest mountain. After a long day of adventuring, dinners were always a treat. Lunar ice cream, comet surprise, space juice nectarine, and each meal was lit by schools of starfish that swam through the evening sky. As young Mem wandered through the moon's tunnels, he discovered the primer his mother used to read to him. In the book was something he had completely forgotten: the little green and blue planet. He ran to his father's telescope As he peered into it, he remembered the long ago shooting star that had fallen to earth. But it was not nightlight he found. "There are children on earth, children like me," he cried. Years went by, and the man in the moon was no longer a little boy. His new friends on earth were very far away, but their lost balloons often floated up to the moon. Mem found that if he held them to his ear, he could hear the hopes and dreams of the children who had lost them. He listened carefully. Soon he had a whole collection of lost balloons. Mem learned that sometimes the children just needed a toy or a candy or a prize or a sweet dream or a good story to cheer them up. So Mem gazed down upon the earth, scanning mountain tops so remote they were hidden in clouds. There he found a grand toy maker to make the children toys, a regal rabbit to make them candy eggs, and a fairy from the kingdom of Punjab Hailu to leave prizes under their pillows. He even found a sleepy little fellow on a faraway sandy island who seemed to know all there was to know about dreams. And lastly, Mem brought the children of earth a lovely lady who would tell them stories. But for all the joy Mem brought to earth, there was one thing he had not been able to change. The children were still afraid of the dark. Although Pitch and his nightmare men were nowhere to be seen, Mem knew that the children still had nightmares. After all, at this time, he had never had one himself. Mem thought he would know everything when he grew up, but of course he did not. "This growing up is a tricky business," he said to himself. Every day he listened to the lost balloons and watched the children through his telescope and wondered how he could help them. "If only I could find them a friend like Nightlight," he thought. And so, deep in thought and remembering his friend, Mem kicked a rock and then another, revealing a pile of very bright sand. He stopped and stared. It reminded him of the dream sand that Nightlight had sprinkled over him when he was a baby. Mem laughed to himself and went on kicking rocks. He had an idea. Soon the moonbots and moon mice were kicking rocks too. When the moon mice were so tired that they could hardly hold up their tails, and the moonbots were so creaky that they could barely move, Mem called upon the toy maker and the rabbit, the fairy, and the others from Earth to fly up and lend a hand. And then finally, when everyone was too tired even to complain, the man in the moon smiled and summoned the lunar moths. The bright sand had made the moon 100 times brighter. Now the children of Earth will see the moon's smiling face and know they have a nightlight to guard them forever, said Mem. And for a moment, the distant stars of his mother and father sparkled more brightly than ever before. Mem began to sing. It was an old song, a beloved song, and they all joined in. Night light, bright light, sweet dreams I bestow. Sleep tight all night, forever I will glow. The man in the moon knew that he could be the guardian of the children of earth, just as Nightlight had been his guardian long ago. But he would need help, and so he gathered everyone together. Now, my friends, he said, kneel and take this oath. It was much like the one Nightlight had taken long ago, and now it would be their own. We will watch over the children of earth, guide them safely from the ways of harm, keep happy their hearts, brave their souls, and rosy their cheeks. We will guard with our lives their hopes and dreams, for they are all that we have, all that we are, and all that we will ever be. So began the guardians of childhood. And for the children of earth, the night was never again as dark. The end. And I hope if you know a friend or someone that might have bad dreams, that you'll recommend The Man in the Moon by William Joyce to teach them about how the moon is a guardian of childhood.
Creative artists can offer you a wide range of video production. Call the experts and discuss your project today, whether it's your special event or your company. Creative Artist, 770-267-7368. Creative Artist produces this program you're watching. Call Creative Artist today, 770-267-7368. Creative Artist, they'll put you in the spotlight. Welcome to Focus. This segment is an opportunity for us to focus on what matters with people, places, and things. I'm your photographer, Daryl Everidge.
Families used to come out and they would take care of graves and they would picnic. You know, after church you'd come out and you'd eat after church and you'd clean the graves and you'd put flowers out, and it was just a traditional thing, and you'd talk about your loved ones that were long gone and you'd tell stories. It was just your tradition, and it's kind of fallen by the wayside. I think people move off. You know, children move away, they move to other places, and the graves just fall into disrepair, and people forget where their family members are buried. I decided I was going to show my friend Bill Owens a grist mill that I was interested in, and we drove out to see the grist mill, and on the way back he said, I think you would like to see this cemetery. And so he showed me a cemetery that was right across the street from where I lived, and I could not believe I had lived there for that long and I had never seen it. I was shocked and appalled. And so I saw it, and we looked at it for a few minutes, and I went home and I couldn't stop thinking about it. So a few minutes later I decided to amble back over, and I walked all the way through it, and I started taking pictures, and then I called him back up and I said, oh, well, look at this, look what I found. And I got so excited about it, and then I said, well, we have to do something. And so then from then on, it was kind of game on. So then I guess it was every other weekend, we were in there cleaning and pulling briars and just working away. Just clearing vines and cleaning gravestones, chopping down trees. And you know, it's just been a discovery of gravestones and plants and it's been fun. But meeting people, it's been different people coming out every other weekend. And sometimes it's a good group of people. Sometimes it's no people. It might be a lonely weekend out there. But sometimes it's a bunch of people. It just depends. But you can't give up. You just got to keep at it.
I would like to see the cemetery in the name of the city of Monroe, and that's something I really would like to work toward. And I don't want it to be an added expense for the city. I don't think it would be. I just think that it needs to have a it needs to have a place, so that it just never happens again. A caretaker, if you will. So if a tree does fall, that something will be done about it, or if the vines start to grow crazy. And I'd like to keep our stewardship group going, where we come out. Right now we're coming out twice a month. I think once everything is as it should be, we can cut back to maybe one time a month just to cut vines, spray a little Roundup if needed, those types of things. But I would like to see it, in the name of a certified entity like the city of Monroe. And I think that it was good that they were placed here to identify it as a cemetery. I think that was a blessing. And as we move forward, I really want to repair all the broken markers, find where all the graves, the probability of all the graves are, and, place some type of, small marker on all of the graves, something that's not going to rot.
I've known about the cemetery for years. I did not know the history of it. I knew it was an African American cemetery, and I knew that it was abandoned, so to speak. And I told her about it, and she had looked at it, and I think about a week or so later, we went back over there and we tromped through all the weeds and through everything, and slowly started gathering history on it and figuring out what it was and who was there and what it was all about. And I'd heard so many myths and half-truths, and you just get this local folklore type thing going on within the community, and it was like, well, let's dig into this, and so it was absolutely fascinating. From there, we ended up going to the county courthouse and going through the archive records and seeing how this all came about, and there was a lot of things that people thought or believed that just weren't true, and it's just a wonderful story of how this church came about and how it was founded and how the cemetery came about, and how they moved, and then it was just kind of forgotten for a while. And so it was really nice to uncover this piece of Monroe history that we could just share with everybody. And I've absolutely enjoyed the entire journey.
This past week's been really great because we could finally see the buildings, finally look over that whole vast expanse, and you can see all the way to the other side. And before, you would look and it would just be a jumbled mass of plants and you couldn't see anything. And now you can see to the other side. You can see the light. I feel like preservation is of value because it unites all people. This preserves cultural heritage, and I think that that's important. This cultural heritage is important not just for the African American community. I think it's important for blacks, whites, people of all color. I think it's important not just to remember the past, but it's important for people of today, but it's important to people for the future too. We've got to think about, not just ourselves, but for the people of the future. We've got to preserve this for ongoing generations, I think so.
The original thought that's just evolved from the very beginning was, hey, let's just clean this up so people can see it, so someone else can come in here and see what's going on. And from there, that journey has just taken us to learn what this really was and who was really here and the people that were buried there. It's pretty unique, and I still find it fascinating when you can find these graves that we literally are just finding. You're just digging through this forest of underbrush and growth, and you happen upon a grave, and you can find someone that's been lost, so to speak. And that's that in itself is so rewarding, just to find that and discover that.
And if you don't preserve these stories, they're going to disappear, and I think it's important. But I think by preserving these stories, we're helping to create new stories. I mean, don't you think? I think it helps us shape what's to come.
Monroe is probably one of the most unique places, and we have such a rich history, and it goes back and forth. And the more you read into the history of Monroe, the diversity that you have here in this community is quite unique in itself. You can definitely look at the other communities around us, and it's just not the same.
We can do a lot of things with this cemetery. We can preserve this space, but I think we can preserve many more things in this community. And I think not just with this community, I think other communities, can look at this and they can do bigger things in their communities. I think, doing one thing can ripple across other communities. I believe that.
Welcome to another edition of Through the Camera. I'm your photographer, Darrell Everidge. Today, tag along with me as we visit people, places, and things. So go grab the family, grab a camera, and let's go grab some memories. And we're off. Our first stop today is Chocolate Camp at Scoops on the Square in Covington. Now this sounds like a delicious treat.
We started in June, so we've only done 2 classes. They're every Tuesday and Wednesday for the month of June and July until the kids go back to school. And it's a 4-hour camp class, one day for 4 hours. And it covers a lot of different categories of chocolate. They'll dip their own cone, as we sell here with our ice cream. A lot of kids are familiar with the dip cones, but they don't know how it gets that way. So in the beginning of the 4 hours, we dip a cone and let them dry. Go over a lot of the health concerns and why we wear gloves and temperature, and depending on the age bracket of the class. We've tried to coordinate the classes with the age brackets together. So we have 5 to 10 and then 10 to 15. And it's worked out well so far. We've only done a few.
Who would have thought about Chocolate Camp? That was delicious. Thanks, Scoops, for all your hospitality and all that great, wonderful chocolate. Our next stop, right here on the square, for the annual Summer Car Show. Fun and festivities for everyone.
I want to thank everybody for coming out. And how this got started was county manager wanted to do an employee appreciation picnic, and it happened to be at the same time about 3 weeks ago as the original scheduled date for this car show. So me and the county manager got to talking, and I said, well, John, I'm going to have a big crowd on the square. I like to recognize the county employees that have been with us 15 plus years. And when I said that, I didn't know we had 89 employees that have been with the county 15 plus years. We have 3 employees that have been with us 34 plus years. And you know, that there is amazing, you know, being with one employee that long.
That was a great car show and a great appreciation for all the Newton County employees. Good job, guys. And now we pack the car up and head 329 miles, a little over 5-hour car ride. But we're headed to the beach, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina is a beautiful place. It hosts over 14.6 million visitors annually, and the Grand Strand is home to an array of tourist attractions. This area receives a huge influx of visitors during all seasons, whether it's winter or the hot July sun. The area's attractions include its beaches and many golf courses, as well as a number of amusement parks, an aquarium, retail developments, and over 1,900 restaurants and an array of nightclubs. So this week, when the back roads led us to South Carolina, we had no idea how much fun and relaxation we were going to find.
Here we are, about to take our Myrtle Beach helicopter tour ride. We're a bit nervous and a little scared, but hey, we're gonna have fun. Let's see what it looks like from about, cloud high.
So the map's up here. All the different tours that we offer are listed at the bottom.
I'm going to give you a quick safety briefing. The most important thing to remember is not to go anywhere near the back of the helicopter. Always stay up front. I'm going to get your doors for you, getting you in and out, so when you get back, wait for me. I'll get you out. I'm also going to help you with your seatbelts. I'm not sure who your pilot is today, but your pilot's salaries here are based off of gratuity. So if you like your pilot and you have fun, feel free to give him a tip.
Myrtle Beach is a coastal resort city in South Carolina. It's a complex of beach towns and barrier islands stretching from Little River, South Carolina to Georgetown, South Carolina. Arising from the gateway of lumber workers from Conway, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach has rapidly developed into a major tourist destination in the southeastern United States. In 2009, the population was estimated at 31,968. Myrtle Beach is the 13th fastest growing metropolitan area in the United States. Wow, it's been a fantastic day today. Let's take a look back through the photo album.
Wow, that was a great weekend of trips. Thanks for tagging along. I'm your photographer, Darrell Everidge, reminding you, this weekend, next weekend, any weekend, grab your family, grab a camera, and go out and grab some memories.